What's going on, family? A couple things I want to talk to you guys today in this video. First thing, we're going to talk about the season of isolation when you're going through development, man, and something you guys can relate to. And then also we're going to talk about um, unlocking your mind, freeing yourself from that mental prison, and what that even means, man. What that even means. So first and foremost, man, a couple friends of mine and other content creators in this space that I've seen that from conversation or them in video expressing the same thing. When you work on yourself so much, and I mean, like, for some people like myself who have grew up in poverty and had to work so hard to get to where you are in life right now, you start to become you start to detach from what you're familiar with, because you have to rewire your thinking. But then you get to a space where you start to feel like an alien because everyone around you is still stuck in the prior, in the previous, in the old way of thinking. And you have transformed from that. And what happens is that creates survivor's guilt. You start to feel guilty for changing, for growing, for developing, but life is about change. You start to feel guilty for that. And I'm saying this now for all you guys out there who are in that season where you have grown and people around you are starting to notice your growth, and some of them are making you feel guilty for growing or wanting to change, and you're starting to feel guilty about making it out and developing and wanting to, and having dreams and going further. And people are starting to put on you this feeling of, oh, you think you're better, or you think that you're bougie, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, no, I'm starting to really understand my own value, and you should too, right? So when you get into that thinking, you're like, man, I'm realizing I'm outgrowing my community, I'm outgrowing my tribe. And you start to realize that you were always made for something more. So now you're seeking a new tribe. And I've been through that season where I'm going to these networking events, I'm connecting with other professionals, I'm trying to build a new batch of friends. Not to lose the old ones, because those keep you grounded, right? But you need a new sphere of influence. What do I mean? Well, it's like your top five. You need the top five people the top five people that you're in communication with are the people who have the greatest influence on you. And you're in a season where your influence needs to be people who are helping you think, expand your thinking, helping you grow, helping you challenge yourself, helping you remain accountable, and so forth. Help pushing you to bring your dreams to life, and so forth, right? So you start to go to these networking events because you believe that I'm going to find those people here, and it's very likely that you will. But at the same time, I understand this now, that even in that space, I'm still an alien. Why? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people in this space, they're here, they exist here because they were raised to be here. They were molded, they were shaped, they were brought up for this corporate life. They were brought up to be directors. They were brought up to be managers. They were brought up. They went to college. Their parents paid their tuition and so forth. They lack now the grit that you have. They lack now this other thing. So in this room, like I said, in the other room around where you come from, you feel survivor's guilt. But in this room, you feel imposter syndrome, because I don't come from this. Now, and a lot of these things are beneficial. I'm not saying this in complaint. I'm saying this, to paint this picture that I understand. And if you understand, you're not alone. But in this space, you're learning about watches. In this space, you're learning, people are inviting you to play golf. In this space, you're going to these different events and joining different committees and different boards and so forth. And it's valuable, and yes, but you still don't fully fit in. The more you grow, the less you fit in, the more unique and rare you become. And finding that space, finding that tribe becomes more challenging. So I want to remind you that, it is a small pool of people, but you have to learn this. Everybody, well, no one, let's say it like this, no one will be your everything. You probably won't find that friend that you can discuss business with, discuss sports with, go to the gym with, talk about investments and so forth, and talk and share book recommendations with. Probably won't find that person. but you can find someone in each category, and now we have to almost lower our expectations. But when you do find somebody who fits all those categories, then you're able to, what the heck is going on? These people on this thing, and they're creating people on the streets with scooters, and the cars going around, and I just almost lost my mind. I was in a trance while I was cooking. I'm just chatting with y'all, and it was some crazy traffic stuff going on. But yes, keep it simple. Find people that fit a category and leave them in that category. Everybody doesn't have to feel like a day one, but stay mindful when you might find that person, but enjoy all these things. But if you only have one, right? If you only have, your people that you came up with, and you're starting to get less and less in common, you're going to start to almost resent them. You're going to almost become angry with them for not wanting to grow with you. So you just need new people in your life, but they can't replace the old ones, and no one's going to check every box that you're looking for. You just need people who check different boxes and then create that as your circle. They don't even have to relate with each other or hang around each other. It don't have to be one big group, but just continue to fill those voids and allow people to just have different friends, right? But now I'm talking about getting out of the prison, because as you're developing yourself, you're going to start to feel, what do you call it? Like you're running into the same problem over and over and over and over and over again. And if you have a relationship with God like myself, you're going to pray on these things, and you're going to feel some things of spiritual warfare, and you're going to, give the problem to God. You're going to give the problem to God, and you're going to ask God for assistance, and God will show up for you. And I look at this as if you are in a jail cell, and God will unlock that jail cell. But see, what happens is, many of us, once God says, okay, you're free to go, many of us stay in that jail cell. Why? Well, the familiar pain is more comfortable than the unfamiliar comfort or happiness or joy. That familiar pain is more comfortable than the unfamiliar happiness. What are you talking about? So here's the thing. For myself, growing up, I've experienced a lot of traumatic things that have shaped my thinking and shaped my personality. And as I am praying this anxiety and worry and stress and fear off of myself, and God says, okay, I did it. I unlocked the cell. You can leave. I remain in that same thinking. Why? Because you're expecting God to do all the work for you, but some of the problem still remains in your flesh. What does that mean? In my person, in my mind. There's a lot of undoing that I have to do. I still have to put in the work, and I'm going to talk to you guys about how we can solve that, right? I'm not just going to leave you hanging and just talk to you about philosophy and understanding and stuff like that. I'm going to give you something applicable to do that I'm currently doing myself. Right? I need you to understand this. It's like in the video where they say if you put a tick in the jar and close the lid, they will keep jumping and they'll remain at that distance. But then when you remove the lid from the jar, the ticks will not try to jump outside of the jar because they have been conditioned to only jump so high. Even though it is capable of jumping way past that confined space, it won't try. So since you have been in this mindset, in this thinking, for however long in your life, whatever age you are, I am 30 years old. So I've been in this thinking for 30 years in some of these cases, or whenever this began, right? So now once God removes the lid or opens that jail cell, I remain stuck performing at the same capacity or level that I think I am stuck at or capable of. So to fully get out, I've unlocked my mind, but now I have to use it. So imagine for the ticks stuck in that jar, if babies are born, those babies grow up only knowing this. So once it's removed, it's not them remembering that they are capable of more. They never even knew that they were capable of more. So it's a lot more, it's a different thing for them. So for a lot of us who are first generation business owners, who are first generation college graduates, who are first generation whatever, see, you're learning not from based on I need to remember, right? Muscle memory. You're learning from I never even knew because no one ever taught me. So this is foreign territory. So I need to rewire my mind even further because the jail cell is unlocked. The prison is unlocked. However, we still remain in our cell. Everybody's looking at you stupid because everybody can see the brilliance you have. Everyone can see the wisdom you have. Everyone can see the talent and creativity and the gifts that you have. But you can't see. Why? Because you can only see the four walls and the bars and the cell door, and you only can see it locked, and you don't understand that it's open. And everybody's like, why are you here? We're here because we have not been set free. But you are here because you choose to be. Right? They say if you know they say if you know better, you will do better, right? But we don't. And that's the fight. See, once you become enlightened or woke or whatever, or aware, you would think that everything's going to click after that, but it doesn't. Why? You know to put your shoes up when you take them off. You know to stop putting your jacket there when you take it off, but you don't. Why? Because you are conditioned. You see, so on a deeper spiritual level, if the enemy gets you to sin, now he don't got to keep getting you to sin, because after a while you become so conditioned to it that this is all you know to do. You start to identify with it, and you start saying, I'm just being myself. This is who I am. And you don't realize that it is a conscious decision because it has made it into your subconscious. And your brain and your body is just suggesting this behavior over and over again. So you have to rewire that. You have to actually get up and leave that jail cell and never look back. But how do you do that when the jail is your mind? How do you get up and get out of your own mind? You have to break the pattern of being yourself. You have to break the habit of being yourself. So here's this thing. It's called the 369 theory. See, people use this as a form of manifestation. Deeper, this came from, I think, Nikola Tesla. He says that the theory of everything and the universe and all this other stuff like that. I'm telling you this thing because this is what people are going to say when you look this up and so forth, but that's not what I'm using it for, because I recognize and understand God as the highest authority in the universe, and I don't do anything outside of that. You know, I think any power or authority that I have is from God, right? Through His grace or through Him, right? It's not through me. And I understand that there are things that I have to do in collaboration because God has given me free will. So I'm not a robot. So God won't just open the jail cell and transport me and teleport me wherever mindset or thinking a place He wants me to be in life. He gives me freedom to decide. So if I say, please open the jail, please set me free, please take this away from me, He will. But if it's my choice to stay tortured and stay in that torment and then keep praying to open the door to let me out, and He's like, I did that I've let you out 10 years ago, and you every day ask me to let you out, and I've already gave you that permission to go. Why are you still here? It is not anything doing this to you but yourself. You are the problem. So the 369 thing. So I'm not using it as I'm manifesting. I'm not using it as the universe aligning and all this other stuff. I am using it for one thing and one thing only. To rewire my mind through repetition. So you ask yourself, what is the thing that if I can overcome, I will be able to see the most success in my life? For myself, I come from a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of doubt, uncertainty. So I experience a lot of anxiety. And anxiety is under the umbrella of fear. You see what I'm saying? So it can hinder me. It can complicate my life. So anxiety is one of those things for me. What else is it? Well, sometimes I have this perfectionist complex where I feel like I gotta be perfect, or I might, you know, upset God, or or lose my spot in heaven, right? And it's just not true. I mean, you can literally crash out, but I don't have to be perfect. God doesn't expect me to be perfect, right? So that's not true. And the other thing is, it's like as if I can ruin my plan. Ruin God's plan for me. As if like I can just go so AWOL that I'll just ruin everything in my life, and this creates fear of God. So I crafted a sentence for myself to write 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening, to hardwire into my brain to change the way that my mind operates, to do my part of removing this anxiety. Because God has already won the battle for me. He's already opened that jail cell. So now it's just up to me to step out. But when the jail is in your mind, how do you step out? You have to get it to understand through repetition, right? So I welcome you guys to do this as well. I'm on day 2 of this thing. And I've done journaling, and I've done therapy, and I've done those things. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. It does work. But I need to rewire my mind. I need to dive deep into myself, my subconscious, because this behavior, this thinking is so deep rooted. It would take forever therapy. I would need therapy every day. I just need to, through repetition, get something hardwired into my deep subconscious to challenge everything that I think is real. Everything that I think is me. Everything that I think is familiar. I have to undo it. So my sentence is, I walk in God's love, free from fear. I walk in God's love, free from fear, safe in His plan for me. I walk in God's love, free from fear, safe in His plan for me. There's nothing that can undo it. There's nothing that can mess it up. There's no one that can push me out the line, because I'm walking in God's love. I'm moving forward. It's an action. I'm walking in God's love every day of my life, free from fear. And I'm safe in His plan for me. It's as if we're bowling and there are bumpers up that will not allow me to go off the rail. And I give that up to God. So I love you guys. Don't allow yourself to stay a prisoner of your own mind. Free yourself. Step out. And trust that God has a plan for your life.